Okay, so get this. Imagine, right, you're sitting at a cafe, just enjoying your latte, and the person at the next table, they lean over and start listing off like all your relatives' names, where they live, like super creepy, right? What if I told you they got all that just by looking at you through their sunglasses?
That sounds like something out of a movie, but that's exactly what we're diving into today, this Sky News article. I have to say, it sent chills down my spine a little. Two Harvard students, they basically turned those Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, the ones, into, well, digital skeleton keys to your whole life.
And get this, they didn't need some like super secret lab or crazy hacking skills. This is just off-the-shelf tech.
Exactly. Just the glasses, a normal computer, the kind anyone could have, and then readily available AI software for facial recognition, the kind that's out there, and, well, online databases. The kind of stuff you probably wouldn't want linked to your Instagram.
So for our listeners who maybe haven't heard the term, what is doxing exactly in this context?
In simple terms, it's like revealing someone's entire personal life online without their consent. Name, address, phone number, even family connections, all of it. And these modified glasses, they could potentially do that with a single glance. Imagine, right? Someone's just walking through a crowd, instantly getting that level of information on anyone they pass.
Like a privacy black hole. And the article mentions they even tested this out on their own campus, like went up to classmates and just started dropping personal details about their families right there.
Yeah, it's unsettling, and it really highlights a key point. Facial recognition, on its own, it's not inherently good or bad. It's a tool. It can be used for good, like finding missing people, even just unlocking your phone.
Right, but like any tool, there's always that potential for misuse. And in this case, they're saying they built this whole thing as a warning.
Exactly. Their argument is that by showing how easy it is to manipulate this tech, they're raising awareness, trying to show everyone how vulnerable we are with facial recognition becoming so common.
Okay, so they're trying to be the good guys, whistleblowers. But here's what gets me. By putting this tech out there, even as a demonstration, aren't they basically giving bad actors like a how-to guide?
$1 million question, right? It's that classic ethical dilemma. Do you expose a potential threat, even if it means giving bad guys a leg up?
And honestly, it doesn't even sound like they needed much help. The article made it seem like surprisingly simple to make these doxing glasses.
That's what got me too. They used open source software, the kind that's freely available to anyone online. Shows you how accessible this stuff is becoming.
Okay, so let's break it down. How does this even work? So you've got the glasses, and Meta says they don't have facial recognition built in, right?
Right. The Ray-Bans, they're marketed as having a camera, taking photos, videos, that kind of thing, and features for privacy, like a recording light.
But clearly that wasn't enough to stop these students.
No, not quite. They figured out how to exploit the glasses' ability to stream live video. So that feed, which includes every face you're looking at, gets sent to a computer, and that's where the facial recognition AI kicks in.
So it's like the AI is scanning faces, like swiping through a dating app, but instead of a match, it's pulling up your whole life story.
Pretty much, yeah. It compares those faces from the video to images, data, all stored in these huge online databases. Think like social media profiles, public records, even those find people websites. All fair game.
Okay, this is making me want to delete all my accounts and get an off-the-grid cabin. Seriously. But legally speaking, is any of this like actually illegal what they did?
And that's where it gets really interesting, even for someone like me who doesn't live and breathe privacy laws. Right now, the laws around this kind of tech are, well, a bit of a gray area.
So no clear-cut answer.
Not exactly. We've got laws against, like stalking, harassment, right? And using someone's info for things like financial gain, that's definitely illegal.
Makes sense. But what about just like collecting the information?
Ah, yeah, that's the gray area. Just accessing, compiling public info, even on a massive scale. It's not always legally clear-cut, depends on the how, the where, what it's being used for, all of that.
So someone could theoretically walk around with these glasses, build up a whole database of faces, personal details, and not actually be breaking the law.
That's the thing, yeah. Creepy, absolutely. Yeah. Invasion of privacy, you bet. But illegal. Not necessarily, at least not yet.
It's like we're always a step behind with the law, right? By the time they catch up, the tech is already doing something else.
Exactly. And this case is the perfect example. The technology is already here, affordable, easy to use, but the law is still trying to figure out, well, what do we even do about it?
So what do we do? Do we just accept that our faces are like public property now, free for the taking?
I wouldn't go that far. There are things we can do, both individually and as a society. First off, awareness is huge. The more people who understand how this tech works, how it can be misused, the the better equipped we are to demand better protection.
Knowledge is power, even when it's a little scary.
Absolutely. And this whole thing, it sparked debate, right?
Right.
About the ethics of it all, the need for stronger laws around facial recognition. And that's a conversation we need to keep having.
So what can people listening do to be more informed, maybe even like push for change?
You know, it might sound basic, but start by talking about it. Talk to your friends, family, coworkers, share this deep dive. Maybe someone will be surprised. More awareness means more pressure on lawmakers to do something.
Make it everyone's concern, not just a tech issue.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't just about the glasses. It's bigger than that. Facial recognition is everywhere. Security cameras, social media, it's all connected.
So it's about where we draw the line. What are we okay with in the name of convenience, security, and what are we going to fight for to protect ourselves?
Those are the questions we should all be asking, because how we answer them, well, that's going to shape the future of privacy as we know it.
And speaking of the future, this case with the students got me thinking about tech companies. I mean, Meta said their glasses weren't designed for this kind of use.
Classic line, right? We just built it, not our fault how people use it. But I think that argument's getting harder to make, especially with something like facial recognition. The stakes are so high.
So where do we go from here? Should companies be doing more to prevent this kind of thing, even if it means, like, less innovation?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no easy answer. Some people say we need stricter rules right from the start about how this tech is developed, how it's used. Others, they worry that'll stifle progress.
It's tough. On one hand, you don't want to hold back progress, but on the other, you don't want to wait until it's too late and we're, like, living in a surveillance state.
Finding that balance, that's the key. How do we encourage innovation but do it responsibly? How do we put safeguards in place? And that requires talking openly, not just between tech companies and the government, but with everyone.
Because when it comes down to it, it's our faces, our identities, our privacy that's on the line here.
Exactly. And we've all got a role to play in deciding how this technology impacts our lives moving forward.
It's like we're all part of this giant experiment now with facial recognition, but like no one asked if we wanted to participate.
That's a good way to put it, actually. It's easy to feel like, well, what can we even do, right? Like it's already happening, it's inevitable. But the thing is, we're still in the early stages here. This tech becoming so widespread, it's not a done deal, not yet. The choices we make now, the conversations we're having, that's what determines how it all plays out.
So what about someone like me, right? Average person, hears all this and thinks, okay, creepy, but I'm not doing anything wrong, so why should I care?
See, that's the thing about privacy. It's not just about hiding something. It's about control. Having control over your own information, how it's used. Imagine a world where you walk into a store, boom, your entire purchase history is right there. Or your credit score is like floating above your head. Maybe sounds far-fetched, but that's the kind of future we're looking at if we don't start setting boundaries.
It'd be like the end of anonymity, basically.
In a way, yeah. And it makes you think, right, about what it even means to exist in public anymore.
Right.
Are we going to get so used to being watched that we start censoring ourselves, avoiding certain places, certain conversations, just out of fear?
That's a bit of a chilling thought, not gonna lie. It's like we're on the edge of this huge societal shift, and most people don't even realize it's happening.
And that's why these conversations are so important, bringing it all to light. We've got to get past the fear, the technical stuff, and make it real. Make it about real people, real lives.
So, practically speaking, what can people even do to protect themselves if our faces are basically becoming our digital fingerprints, like you said?
Well, a few things. Personally, be mindful of what you're putting out there online. Those privacy settings matter. And be cautious about things like using facial recognition to unlock your phone. Yeah, it's convenient, but it also normalizes it all, It makes it easier for others to access that data.
Being a conscious consumer, like with anything else.
Exactly. And bigger picture. Support the groups out there, fighting for privacy rights, pushing for ethical guidelines around all this tech. Stay informed, about laws being proposed, and make your voice heard. Your elected officials, they need to know this is something people care about.
Because if we don't say something, who will, right?
Exactly. This isn't fate, this technology, the future of privacy. It's something we shape through what we do, the choices we make.
So as we wrap up here, what's the one thing you want people to take away from this whole conversation?
That even though it can feel overwhelming, this technology, like it's moving too fast, we still have power. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to challenge the status quo, to demand better from the companies, the people in charge. shaping our digital lives.
It's about taking back control, right, of our digital selves, one conversation, one action at a time.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, we'll leave you all to ponder these very big, very real issues. Next time you see a pair of those smart glasses, just remember, might be more than meets the eye. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay vigilant.
Until next time.